always wanted to do that. Always. Okay, so the legend of Tarzan. Now Tarzan, he's quite an old figure. He was created in 1912, made his film debut in 1918, and in all that time, he has never once said, "Me Tarzan, you Jane." As for this film, it's perfectly in keeping with the rest of the summer. It's CGI heavy, it's bland, it's boring, it's dull. Let me explain. This entire film was shot in England, except for a few shots in Africa which most of the cast weren't involved with. This is why it looks like Africa, and especially one of the most beautiful parts of Africa, has been reduced down to Doctor Who's old gravel quarry and a couple of really obvious sets. The CGI is awful most of the time. You can tell they're just swinging around on green screen. But I will say that the animals do look really, really good. Like up there with the Jungle Book good. As for the plot itself, oh boy. I mean, a pulp hero should have a pulp villain. Instead, it's been dragged through grit and reality, and you're dealing with slavery, and diamonds, and racism, and does anyone remember when summer blockbusters used to be fun? As for the cast itself, the main piece of cardboard, Tarzan, cardboard, he is the blandest hero I think I've ever seen. I mean, the guy is ripped, absolutely. But when you put him up against Margot Robbie, Samuel L. Jackson and Christoph Waltz, you gotta feel sorry for the poor plank of wood. Speaking of which, Samuel L. Jackson could have been removed from this film in his entirety, and I don't think a single scene would have been affected or impacted in any way, shape or form. Margot Robbie is absolutely brilliant as Jane, who declares that she's not a damsel in distress, and then spends the entire film being chained to things and needing to be rescued by aforementioned block of wood. Christoph Waltz is absolutely brilliant as the villain, who unfortunately was going really well as this sort of slimy, one-note character. And then there's this scene where they kind of hint that things happened to him in his past and he's just trying to make his mark in the world. And you just think, no, this is a pulp action hero. Make the baddie a baddie. Please. The fight scenes are really badly shot. Tarzan kills by quick cutting. And at times I literally had my hands over my eyes as the camera was swinging around so much. I felt physically ill. This has to be the worst shot summer blockbuster of the year. The camera swoops around when it should stay still. It stays still when it should be swooping around. There's editing when there should be none. The fight scenes are appalling, especially in a summer blockbuster. You would expect fight scenes to look good. There's nothing here you haven't seen before. This film cost $180 million. It's Tarzan. Stick a guy in a loincloth, run around and fight, I don't know, aliens or something. But don't drag him through the grit, and for the love of God, don't turn him into Batman. I had half a mind watching it that this was a rejected Batman script. Certainly no one had told the orchestra they weren't making a Batman film. They were ripping off Batman Begins soundtrack to their heart's content. All in all, this is yet another dull, drab, boring film from a dull, drab, boring summer. This is a poor film. Skip it. I'm Daniel, this is a Dunking. If you've enjoyed this video, please like, share and subscribe.